topic speakers, formal speeches, and evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, the yellow, and red cards, which denote specific times remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. At 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks to their specific speech times. Icebreaker speeches should be 4 to 6 minutes in length. At 4 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 5 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. At 6 minutes, I will raise the red card. Most other speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. At 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. The individual evaluations should be between 2 and 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. At 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tess. Yeah, time is super critical because, as we all know, time is money, and it's two things that we wish we all had more of. So, thank you, Toastmaster Tess. And last but certainly not least is the role of the grammarian, and Toastmaster Iran will explain what that role entitles.
As the grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language use, and I'll also note any outstanding words, thoughts, sayings, or quotes. As grammarian, it is also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. Today's word of the day is anticipation, which means an expectation or a prediction. For example, in anticipation of today's meeting, I was excited to try a new role. Each speaker is encouraged to use today's word of the day, and traditionally, if you hear that word, we snap our fingers. I'll give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting, and also know which speakers use today's word of the day. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well done. Couldn't have summarized it any better. After our speakers have delivered their speeches, we need to give our evaluators some time to deliberate and produce their evaluation of each speech. During that time, we will play a game called Table Topics. Tonight's table topic master is Toastmaster Sabine, and I would like to call her to the front to give a brief synopsis on what her role will be this evening.
Toastmaster today, and the table topics exercise is that I chose a topic of my choice, what came up to me, and I'll reveal that later. And then I have a bunch of questions, individual questions for the person who volunteers to go for the table topic little speech and ask that question, and the person then can elaborate up to 2 minutes on that question. That's the plan for the table topics. I have 5 questions prepared, so let's see how much time we have. Thank you.
And as that example shows, each of you can put your own personal touch and your own pizzazz on how you describe your role and how you deliver your message or description to the audience here. We have 2 speakers tonight. Speaker number 1 will be Toastmaster Edward Landrin with the title of his speech, Why You Should Hire a Trainer. And speaker number 2 will be Toastmaster Andrea, titled The Pursuit of Happiness. The evaluators tonight will be Toastmaster Itai, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Andrea's speech, and myself will evaluate Toastmaster Eddie's speech tonight. Finally, there's a new role that's being implemented as part of our club agenda. It's called the General Evaluator. You might have got a glimpse of what that entails last week when we first rolled it out. Tonight's general evaluator is Toastmaster Simon. I don't see him in the crowd, but he usually comes in around this time, so we'll give him a couple minutes to arrive. But he will be delivering tonight's general evaluator at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. So that summarizes all of the roles and all of the speakers' topics tonight. But there's one more role that hasn't been accounted for, and it's the role of the joke master. Does anybody have a joke that they would like to share before we get started? If not, I have a really bad one. All right, let's do it. Toastmaster Protect.
Thank you, sir. I was at church right before Christmas, and our preacher said this joke. So he said that Santa Claus sent out an email. No, Santa Claus got a report that 95% of the people have been naughty and only 5% have been nice. So he sent out an email to the 5% of the people that have been nice. Do you guys know what he wrote in that email? Anyone know? You guys are on the naughty list.
So that helps get our brain juices flowing a little bit, helps loosen things up. And now that that's out of the way, we can get started with our speakers tonight. I would like to call to the front of stage, longtime member of the club and speaker number 1 tonight, Toastmaster Edward Landry.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Edward. Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Edward Landry, and I have been a personal trainer since the 1990s. And I know that's a very long time. And my industry has changed over that time. Now you have fitness exercises on YouTube, you can look it up on TikTok, you even have books and manuals and everything else. But why would you want to hire a personal trainer? Anybody have any ideas? No? Why?
Ensure your proper form.
Anybody else?
Because it's personal.
Because it's personal? Rajesh?
Accountability.
Accountability? Itai?
Motivation.
Motivation. Well, yes, you have all of those. But I picked out 4 of them that I want to go over with you. That I think that what keeps people coming back and makes people hire a personal trainer. And the first one is you're right. Having somebody you have accountable for is accountable for you showing up. And that can range from everything. Because if you have somebody holding you accountable to showing up, then you won't be doing other things that you'd rather be doing. Let's face it, nobody really wants to do what they're supposed to be doing. So this way, having somebody wait at the gym for you will make you show up and work. Also, it's a time frame. So you can sit there and you can sort of anticipate and work on your anticipation, how you're going to show up over there, and that will start setting the mindset. Because just like anything else, once you do something at a certain time, all the time, all the creative juices will start working. Your mindset will get a little bit more focused, and you can actually be a little bit more energized and look forward to your workout. Because that's what we want to do, right? Is change our mind shift to get a better workout. A second thing is to provide a better workout or the workout that's right for you. We all done it. We see our chest, we look in the mirror, and like, oh yeah, that's my chest. And next thing you know, you're working your chest 3-4 times a week, but you forgot everything in the back. You know, what supports it? So having a trainer will actually make you focus on things that you really don't want to focus on. Because a lot of people like focusing on their arms, they like focusing on their chest, and they like focusing on things they can see and things that will pop out to them. Another thing, they will start working on your weakness, but they'll start setting the weights that are right for you. Believe me, You start working out weights, start doing chest presses and everything else, more than likely you're gonna do more than what you should be doing. You start losing form, then you start having misalignments, then you're gonna have an injury later on. So you start pacing yourself. So let's pick weights and everything else that's right for you. Somebody said in here, correct any kind of misalignment. There's a lot of misalignments in the gym. I can't tell you how often I walk through the gym and I can say, wrong, 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 and wrong. People just don't look at themselves. They just want to go through the movement, do little squats, do little military press, but it's all wrong. Believe me. So a trainer will actually cue you on what to do right. Squat right, military press right, do compound movements right. And lastly, I found it helps keep your body in a state of balance. If anybody in here worked out before, you know you have your primary, your secondary, and your stabilizing muscle group. Your primary is actually move the muscle that moves the weight, the primary muscle that moves weight. The secondary muscles, of course, that's what helps out. For example, if you're doing a chest press, primary muscle is your chest, secondary muscle is your tricep, your stabilizer muscle is your shoulder. So why would I want the back of my shoulder that's stabilizing my muscle is stronger than my chest? You don't. So all the weight stacks that you see on the side lateral machine, don't go all the way to the bottom. You don't need to. You're gonna actually hurt yourself and you're gonna create an imbalance. You wanna create and align yourself where you can create the most amount of power for what you're trying to do. Bottom line, there's a lot of benefits to hiring a trainer. And one of the things is a lot of people just don't stretch. They just don't go over there and stretch out their hamstring or their quads because it's sort of boring to them. And if you take time out to work out, you should take time out to stretch. And that'll be a little bit more beneficial to you, get you in better alignment, get rid of any kind of soreness that you might have, plug any energy gaps, or get rid of the wasted energy gaps that you might have when you live, so you can maximize your performance. So there's a lot of reasons why to hire a trainer, and that's why any top athlete that you see out there today, they always have somebody looking at what they're doing, perfecting their movement to make it the most efficient movement they can, and make the best movements they can. That's for them. So I encourage you, there's a lot of reasons to hire a personal trainer, and you want to start on the right track, get one going early. Back to you.
And perfect timing for a speech like that. I know we all have our New Year's resolutions right now. I've already voided mine, so thank you for that super informative speech, Toastmaster Eddie. So onward and upwards, right? Let's move on to speaker number 2 this evening, and that will be Toastmaster Andrea with The Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Who hasn't watched the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and the son? I bet many of us, if not all of us. But for those that hasn't watched the movie, bad news. I'm gonna tell you the end today. I'm joking. That's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna share with you the message of the movie to me. And for me, the message is that for Will Smith, the father, his happiness is to provide a better life for his son. And he visualized that in his mind, and he worked every day to make it happen. And at the end, the work paid off. So that was his happiness. And all of us, we have our own happiness, right? It can be many of them. It can be different reasons. So what is happiness? That's the big question, right? So I went to the office the other day, and my boss said to me, Andrea, have a great day. I said, sure. go back home. Because for me, having a great day is being at home. That's my happiness. And that's why I'm working every day to be my long run happiness. So I was on Monday in my house working from home and in the couch, and I was anticipating to today's meeting if there was any backhand for a speech. So I said, let me just look it up in Google to see any good topics. And then when I saw my cell phone, the first article that I saw was, "Are you really happy, Andrea?" It didn't say my name. I put the name. But I asked myself, am I really happy? I think I am. I think I'm happy. I think I'm happy every day. Or I'm working for my long run happiness. So this article is an article based on a study from Harvard University. And the article says that there are many reasons to be happy. You have your own reasons. It can be closing a big sale, or having a strong investment, or maybe do the hiking on that mountain that you wanted to do a long time ago, or just having the ice cream that you want, that you love in a hot day. Anything. But you might be heard the phrase that said, happiness is not forever. Happiness is just moments, which is true. But also, happiness can be for the long run. So for the long run, happiness is not wealth. Happiness is not accomplishment. Happiness is not pleasure. Do you know? You want to know what is happiness for the long run? According to the study, of course. Happiness for the long run is the relationship that we do with the people in our life, in our workplace, in our community. And yes, because those people are the ones that are going to stay in the long run. So I'm going to give you 4 advice that the article said. The first one, that you can start creating yourself for the long run. The first one is plan a phone call to an old friend for 8 minutes. We tend to think that in the future we're going to have this surplus of time, that we're going to have enough time to call all our old friends and start connecting to them. But in reality, that time, that someday in the future might never happen. So why not start doing today? And why it has to be 8 minutes? According to the study, 8 minutes is good enough. We are all busy. We have busy life. And nobody want to talk 30 minutes. And nobody has time for an hour. So if you say to your friend, hey, I want to connect with you for 8 minutes, good enough. I just want to catch up with you. And then you both commit to that. You're going to bring joy to you. You're going to bring happy to him, to that person. So that's the first advice. The second one is connect with a stranger. And you might say, no, I'm good with my friends. I'm good with the people that I have. I don't need more friends. But in reality, we are all social creatures. And we are happy when we express ourselves. We talk about ourselves to the people. And we are curious to know about other people. That also brings us joy. So that person, that stranger, tomorrow can be an acquaintance or can be also a friend. The third advice is make connection or get to know better a person at work. And why at work? Because we know sometimes work is headache. We are working so many hours. So why not to have a friend at work? A person that we know. At the beginning also it's going to be an acquaintance, but later on could be a friend. So also make a friend, get to know someone new at work. And the fourth advice is the last one, but not the least one. Because it might be simple, but it's one of the hardest ones. And it's to send a thank you note to someone. Yes, we have to be grateful. And sending a thank you note can take you a few minutes, but saying thank you to somebody that did something to you will not only bring joy to you, but also to the person that you're thanking. And I can relate to that one because every time I receive a thank you note, especially from my mother, my face is like this, and my smile from here to here. Because I said to myself, oh, she's so nice. She really liked what I said to her. She really enjoyed what I gave to her. So that made me happy, to be honest. And I guess she's also feeling happy because she sent me the note. So I think that's true because I haven't had that experience. So sending a thank you note, writing the thank you note might be the easiest part, but sometimes you think and you worry that you're gonna send a thank you note to a person you haven't talked for a long time. It's okay. According to the study, we the people, we feel happy when we receive a thank you note. So practice these advices so you can start building your long run happiness. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Andrea. That was fantastic. And now that we all know how to be happy, we can adjourn the meeting, and I'll see you guys on another.
And we send you a thank you note.
Yeah, and you each get a thank you note in the mail as well.
You're the jokester now, I guess. Joke master.
So now that we've had our 15 minutes of fame for our two speakers, let's share the love. Let's get everybody involved. Let's do table topics. I'd like to call to the front of the stage our table topic master, Sabina. Thank you very much.
So, the table topics. What I was thinking today was find a topic that we can all relate to. And I thought about remembering childhood. So we can all relate to that. Who wants to take the first question and give a little up to 2-minute speech? Don't be rushing to the stage. Okay, go ahead, come on. Hugo. My question would be, what is something that you got in trouble with when you were a child, and how did you manage?
Oh man, I don't think I want to.
Wait, sorry, can I ask what's your name really quick? I didn't get
Hugo.
What is it?
Hugo.
Okay, Hugo, gotcha.
Man, should I say this one?
Yes.
So, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna say it. So when I was about 4 years old, my first girlfriend, her name was Ingrid. She used to live downstairs, and we used to play husband and wife. I don't know where I got that from. I guess I saw it from my parents and stuff. So we used to play every day. My dad had his office downstairs, right? So we would play. We used to do cooking, clean the house. She even gave me my first kiss. And I remember, like, okay, I gotta go to work, gave her a kiss, went downstairs, like, okay, we come back. One day, we were in her house, and she was like, get in the closet. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get in the closet. Mind you, we're both of us are 4 years old. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. So we get in the closet, and she starts taking off her clothes, and I'm like, I don't even know what the heck is going on. I used to remember after her, nothing happened, obviously, we didn't know what was going on. She was just telling me to do the same. Her mom opened the door, and I never saw her again. So did I get in trouble? Yes, because then my dad was like, what were you doing? I'm like, I don't know, she just told me to do this. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And ever since, I guess I like women.
Thank you so much. And I was hoping for some good stories. Okay, so I have a second question. Anybody who wants to come up for the second question? Come on. Okay, first chance. So, if you moved as a kid somewhere else, which was the most memorable experience if you had a move in your childhood? So, and what was it?
Okay, so I can put a pretend scenario, I assume. Okay, so one thing that's always been a part of me is I've always been a home kid, let's say. Never took the risk of going anywhere, and even till this day, I'm very conservative with my decisions. Even in college, I wanted to stay home, close to family. But if I was a little more risky, I think I would probably be raised in Europe, let's say. I know the approach is very different from the American, European, let's say, ways. It's more chill over there compared to here. So one thing I would say is if I lived in Europe, I'd probably be much more relaxed, much more calm, having siestas during lots. So I would say if I had to change anything in my previous life, it would be to move to Europe and have a life from there. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you so much. Another one. Okay. You see they're easy, huh? Germany. I'm from Germany, yes. So for you, I have, what is doesn't have to be all of them, but what is a favorite childhood memory that you would like to share with us?
Wow, I am very old, so I have a lot of memories. So let me think. One of my favorite childhood memories would be I thought of one. I was 17 years old, does that count as a kid?
Yes.
Cool. So when I was 17 years old, I was actually raised in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I'd never seen snow in my entire life. And when I was 17 years old, I was a dancer, just like my daughter. I was auditioning for NYU to be in the Tisch School of the Arts program as a dancer. And I remember getting on the airplane, and it was December, and I remember flying to New York, landing in the airport, stepping out, and I was freezing, and you can tell I don't like the cold, but I really loved the cold. And there was snow on the ground, and everyone thought I was crazy because all the New Yorkers thought that the snow was disgusting and dirty, and I was there, and I pretty much plunged backwards, not at the airport, this was once we were in New York, in Manhattan, and I made snow angels, and then we went to Rockefeller Center, and where the ice skaters were with the tree. I think that's gotta be one of my favorite memories ever. It was just beautiful, and I wasn't paying attention at all to the time, so I don't know if I've gone long enough or not. Thank you.
Well, how are we on time?
Plenty of time.
Excellent, okay. Good.
5,000.
Another volunteer, please. Rajesh, please come. So, for you, I was thinking, in school, which was your favorite school topic, subject, and why?
My favorite school topic, actually I have three. So I love physics. I was fascinated with being an astronaut, learning about rocket ships, and everything to do with going to the moon. So I loved physics. But strangely enough, it was chemistry that I didn't realize how much I liked because I would always blow up things. Like when we were told to do the experiments, I would mix the wrong thing, or I would mix things just to see what would happen, and my chemistry teacher was always yelling at me, and he was saying, "Sing, stop it, sing, stop it." You know, that was my name at that time. And I didn't realize how much I actually enjoyed chemistry and how intuitive it was for me. And what surprised me was that I won the chemistry prize that year in school. And I was completely not expecting that because I was not in the top of the class. And my teacher told me that you have the skill set or the mindset or whatever it is to be a chemist. But I never pursued chemistry. And when it got to organic chemistry, I couldn't understand a thing about it. So it was the physical chemistry that I liked the most. So to answer your question, what was my favorite subject? I think I still love physics. I'm still watching a lot of YouTube things on physics. I miss blowing things up, and ironically, I did well in English literature, though I absolutely hated it.
Thank you. Okay, I have a last one. Anybody? Please. There we go. So this one relates to, when you think back, did you have a teacher that had an impact on your later life? And what type of impact was it?
I had one teacher that had a very good impact on me when I was in Miami Beach Senior High, because he picked me out of the school, which was thousands of students at the time, so I could go for this thing called Youth Leadership Miami, in which we went to Little Havana to plant mangroves and swamps next to like the public housing area. So I thought it made a big impact on me because it made me seem like, okay, there's thousands of people, and then I'm the one that got picked from the whole school. Me and like 2 other people, and then those people didn't show up. So I just felt, made me feel special, and must, be contributing something, and it felt, and then when I did the act itself, it also got me in like a very volunteer mode, and then I still have that same spirit today because I was doing this thing, I don't know if anyone knows Microsoft Weather, right, the days right before Christmas, they were trying to test out their products, and if you would do some like simple errands, like clicking on a couple of things, like where the weather is, in certain places over 30 degrees, like they just told you like little random tasks, and then after you do it a couple of days, I think it was a week, then they would plant a tree in Kenya. So I did that, and then they sent me the certificate that there's a tree planted for me in Kenya. So I thought I was still keeping the tradition of like planting trees and saving the world. And so that's still, that same teacher, who I actually forgot his name, but I remember his face, and his impact still impacted me until recently. So I think that's a good teacher.
Thank you so much. And that concludes today's table topics. Thank you very much for volunteering.
Right on. Thank you all for participating in tonight's table topics. Our speakers put a lot on the line, put a lot of effort into what they do and to deliver the speeches to us, to both educate us, to entertain us, to help them grow by using our community aspect that we have here. So I would like to begin our evaluations first. I will be the evaluator for Eddie's speech, and then we'll move on to the second speech with Itai evaluating Toastmaster underwriting. Toastmaster Eddie, why hire a personal trainer? So I'm going to go over the obvious advantages that you have as a seasoned speaker here at this club. The title of the speech is, why should you hire a personal trainer? And then he intros it with, I've been a personal trainer since the 1990s. So right off the bat, he's qualified, and his opinion on this subject has some serious merit to it. And then you went into the topics of how it can positively impact your life, the things you see on a day-to-day basis, the withdrawals some folks might have for getting a personal trainer, all of the things that some of us might hesitantly know, but you brought it to the surface, so that way it more further influences us to pursue getting a personal trainer. And frankly, from my own personal experience, having that personal trainer is a huge asset to your life. It teaches you a lot, and it benefits you physically and emotionally in more than one way. And it's pretty clear for everyone here to see that not only do you know a lot about the topic that you're talking about, but you know how to deliver a speech in front of this group. So first and foremost, you speak clearly and you speak confidently. And I think confidence is one of the prohibiting factors that folks have and that they try to overcome in coming to Toastmasters. But you already have it, and you've shown that you have that skill set, and that influences us, all of us, to not only get a personal trainer, but also to do a speech based on your delivery of the speech. And also, you're really good at covering the stage too. We could see that the real estate from left to right was properly managed, that you had no problem addressing one corner of the room versus the back half of the room. If I were to challenge you on one aspect, and Toastmasters tries to instill this in Pathways and a lot of other aspects, I would say maybe vocal variety. When we go to the gym, we often hear a lot of strange noises, a lot of things like that. Maybe work that into the speech. Maybe when you're saying like, you're pointing to wrong, maybe go, wrong. That really, not only did I just perk everybody up by raising my voice, but it really drives the message home. So we're trying to really push for pathways. That's one of the areas that it makes you focus on. And I think utilizing sound effects to a certain degree, incorporating that into your speech might give you that competitive edge to really take your speaking to the next level. Thank you for delivering your speech, and we totally look forward to it next week. And without further ado, I'd like to call our second evaluator tonight, Toastmaster Itai.
Today's speech was titled Pursuit of Happiness. I would like to say that you picked out an amazing topic. I don't think there's anyone here that has ever not thought about what it takes to be happy. So I think the topic is really great. It's a great broad appeal to it. Your voice was very nice. You projected your voice very well. And your body movements were synchronous with your voice. The one thing that I really enjoyed about your speech is that all of us have ideas of what it takes to be happy, but you sort of dissected it and boiled it down to friendships and relationships with other people. So you made a nice distinction between short-term happiness, which is more what we think of as being pleasurable, such as consuming an ice cream or something with sugar, but it's a sort of a fleeting emotion. And you really focused on people and our relationships with other people as being the long-term solution to happiness. A few things that you brought up, which I thought was really interesting, is handwriting. Connecting with strangers. I thought that was interesting. You brought this idea that it's important to connect with people that we know from our past, but also strangers. And I thought that was interesting. You can get happiness from someone you don't even know. So I thought that was interesting. The 8 minutes rule was also, I thought, quite fascinating. Why not 7 or 10? It sounds like 8 is optimal to not take too much time. The gratitude, sending thank you notes, that was also something that really liked me, to show gratitude towards others. So even when you're showing gratitude, it's towards another person, so there's something, it's you and this other human being. It's almost, and I think the takeaway message for me is that you cannot achieve happiness on your own. You need other people in your life. There's maybe a few people that can achieve happiness on their own, but most of us really are social animals, as you indicated. And the one thing I would encourage you, challenge you to try next time is to engage the audience much in the same way that Eddie did. He started by asking all of us why it's important to have a personal trainer. I think if you wanted to, you could have asked. You could start your speech by asking people what it takes to be happy. That would maybe get a little more audience engagement. Overall, I thought you did a great job. Your speech was amazing. Thank you.
Toastmaster Itai, and arguably the most challenging role for anybody besides speaking. Speaking in itself, putting on a performance of speech is very challenging, but also putting on an evaluation is challenging because you have to write the content and then deliver it within the same meeting. So kudos to Toastmaster Itai for 2 weeks in a row delivering some pretty stellar evaluations of our speakers tonight, so good job. But let's also check in on how we collectively did. Let's see what our role masters accounted for. And I would like to call to the front of the stage Toastmaster Michael to tell us how we did on the awe counters this evening.
actually. So Edward, I evaluated you actually. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I did. So Edward, you had 2 ahs, 1 10 so's, 1 like, and 1 but. Eddie, for your speech, you had 2 ahs, 1 well, 8 so's, 1 like, 2 buts, and 6 repeats. Rajesh is how I say it? That's what I said. You had 1 3 so's, 7 ands. Andrea, for your speech, you had 7 so's, 1 like, 5 buts, 9 repeats, and 6 ands. Sabina, you had 1 Hugo, you had 4 ahs, 2 2 so's, and you repeated stuff 3 times. Christian, you had 2 so's and 4 repeats. Ashley, you had 1 2 repeats, no, 8 repeats of ands. Simon, you had 4 ahs, 10 4 so's, 1 like. And Itai, you had 3 ahs and 4 and that is it.
Thank you very much.
That's a great report, Mike.
Onwards and upwards. I'd like to call to the front of the stage our timer, and that is Toastmaster Tess.
So you all did pretty well. For the prepared speeches, Eddie did his in 6 minutes and 7 seconds. Andrea, you did yours in 7 minutes and 12 seconds. For the table topics, Hugo did his in 1 minute, 18 seconds. Christian did his in 53 seconds. Ashley, you did yours in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Rajesh, yours was for 1 minute and 35 seconds. Simon, yours was 1 minute and 42 seconds. For the evaluations, Edward, yours was for 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Itai, 3 minutes exactly. Thank you.
Just take the whole thing.
Yes, thank you.
And last, but certainly not least, is our grammarian this evening, Toastmaster Aran.
So both speakers, Eddie and Andrea, used the word of the day, anticipation, which is awesome. I didn't notice any incorrect use of grammar. I'm also too positive of a person to say it if I did. So quotes, dots, words, or sayings that I liked. Eddie, in your speech, you said working out is about creating the most amount of power for what you're trying to do. I wakeboard in my sport, so a lot of time I'm working out with just my legs because that's what I'm trying to do, jump high, so that resonated with me. Andrea, I love the quote, happiness is the relationship we have with the people in our lives. Thought that was beautiful. Christian, you said, if I lived in Europe, I would be much more relaxed, and that resonated with me a lot, so I like that. And Rajesh, you said, I would mix things just to see what happens. And being in the medical field, that also resonates with me. So yeah, thank you guys.
So we are moving at a lightning speed today, guys, which is why I would like to, before we wrap things up, see how we collectively did as a meeting, see what areas we can improve on, and just get a general sense of how our meetings go overall. So, as part of the new role, and someone who signed up online, I would like to call to the front of stage our general evaluator tonight, and that's Toastmaster Simon.
I came a little late, so I didn't get the piece of paper, but in the general evaluation, I've seen that the speeches were very good because I really liked the happiness topic. It was very, it
was very subjective, but I think that that's one of the few topics where happiness is different for everybody, so I think it resonated with a lot of people. I really liked the speech that Edward gave on fitness, and I liked it because you talked about the different muscles, and when you do exercise in muscles, I'm sure you know, you have to focus on each muscle individually. So I liked how you touched on those different topics. I also liked the table topics. They were very different, always new stuff, so that's always a good thing. And the evaluators were also great. They're very on point, very interesting as well. And overall, I think it was a very good meeting.
Thank you, sir. So before we close things out, we got a couple of messages that I'd like to share. And I want to touch upon the importance of the organization as a whole. So first and foremost, there is an area contest coming up. It's on February the 18th. Unfortunately, we need to have a certain amount of pathway accomplishments within our active members in order to sign up for the contests. Now, these contests, they run locally, and then the winners of those local contests begin to compete on a grand scale. It goes all the way up from the national to international levels. Every year there is an international champion of public speaking at Toastmasters in a variety of different subjects and topics as well. The next world champion could be sitting in one of these chairs here. But in order for us to get there, we first have to utilize the Pathways platform that comes with the membership when you sign up. So for our new members, I would encourage you to check out the Toastmasters website to see Pathways and to see how you can use Pathways in your next speech. Because what it does is it targets very specific aspects of a speech, so that way you have it in your head that you work on those aspects. Things like eye contact, things like vocal variety, things like audience engagement. So those are all factors that it tries to address for your speech and helps you improve on it. And there's also functions and pathways for your specific goal. Let's say you deliver a corporate meeting once a week, once a month, once a quarter. If you want to be a people leader, there is a specific pathway for purchase that you could pursue, that you could achieve and get a certificate at the end of it. If you are someone who needs to motivate others, if you're a motivational speaker, there's a pathway for that as well. So if you're not familiar with pathways, or if you don't know where it is on the Toastmasters website, come talk to us after the meeting. We'll show you exactly where it is and how to utilize it. And when you do utilize it, you'll then be eligible to compete in the area contests. So in order to jumpstart our participation in the area contest, this club is going to have a speakathon where one of our meetings is going to be only speeches and only evaluations. We're aiming towards the end of February for that. So if you want to sign up for Pathways, if you have Pathways already and you really want to get a couple legs completed on it, the end of February would be a great opportunity for you to do that. We'll have at least 5 speeches in that time frame and 5 evaluators, and all of those will accredit towards your account. So that my goal is to try to have at least one of us compete to be competitive and represent this club, because we have the skills, we just need the credentials. So if you have any questions on that, talk to us. Happy to help you out, happy to inform you. Reason being is because Toastmasters, after I joined the club, I started to look at where Toastmasters is in society, just overall. Last Super Bowl, for example, before the Super Bowl started, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson delivered I think it was like a 7 to 8 minute introduction to the game itself, with a microphone at the 50-yard line in SoFi Stadium. That's Toastmasters. The President of the United States doing the Address the Nation, a lot longer than 8 to 9 minutes, but that's Toastmasters. Like the A-list celebrities to sitting presidents utilize what we do on a regular basis for their career. Will Smith telling you to keep his wife's name out of your mouth, that's Toastmasters, guys. So if you really want to, elevate to the next level, if you want to have the capacity to be the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, to be the next US president, this is where it starts. And I think that's super cool that resource is right here for all of us to use. So come check us out, come check out Pathways, and after you get that Pathways credentials, let's get competitive. Let's represent this club, and let's take this club to the next level. Next week is the last week of the month, the last Thursday of the month, I should say. As you know, there's a social aspect to this club. So at the conclusion of next week's meeting, we will have our monthly social. The social takes place at Mas Cuba, across the street. We all walk over there as a big collective unit, and we pretty much take up the entire restaurant when we get there. The other restaurant patrons hate us, but the people working there love us. So next week, plan to have another hour or two after the meeting, because we'll be hanging out afterwards, grabbing a bite to eat, maybe a drink or two, and I think that's also kind of unique to this club too, because I don't know any other clubs in the area that have a monthly social. So plan to hang out with us afterwards. The library only gives us an hour, but Mas Cuba is open until whenever. So we got our social next week. We got our Speakathon in February, and I can see a ton of new Pathway users in front of me now. So a lot of good stuff happening, and a lot of upward mobility available for everybody here. Do any of our officers have any closing remarks or messages they'd like to deliver before we round out today's meeting? No? Well, it looks like we're 5 minutes early, so let's adjourn today's meeting, get our picture. If you're not part of the WhatsApp group, come check us out. I have a QR code for you to scan to automatically enroll you in the WhatsApp group. That will allow you to sign up for the roles and for the agenda for next week. Otherwise, until then, I will see you all next week. Thank you all for coming out.